It is definitely moving. Yeah, you see it, yeah.
Get out.
Get out.
Yo,
Get
stop.
out. Get out.
What you guys doing?
Get out.
Get out. What you guys doing? What's wrong with you?
Don't touch me.
Don't you have
Do
kids?
not touch me.
Get out.
Do not touch me.
Get out. I'm not touching you. Oh, did you just hit me? Did you just hit me?
You just hit me.
You just hit me? You too?
Black Lives Matter.
Yo, this is racist. Wow.
Get out. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives
Black
Matter.
Lives Matter.
Stop. Yo, stop. Stop recording. I don't know you. Yo, you need to stop.
Get out.
No, I'm not getting out. I was here
Yes, you
first.
are.
If you're out camping or you've hit hard times and there's no potable water anywhere to be found, just take your solar cooker with you, dip it in a lake, stream, or pond, open it up, put it out in the sun, and within hours you're gonna have potable, sterilized drinking water. My link for your massive discount is in the description below.
Please understand the stakes in this race. Send me to Washington, D.C. so I can work with Senator Casey and I can champion the union way of life in in D.C. Thank you very much, and it's an honor. I live 8 minutes away from here, and when I leave tonight, I got 3 miles away, Dr. Oz in his mansion in New Jersey. You've got a friend and you have an ally. Send me to Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steelworkers.
Are you ready to see one of the most pathetic things that you've seen all week? And you gotta brace yourself because the soy is strong with this one.
I'm a responsible gun owner, father of 2, and I am definitely voting for Beto's. I own 5 guns. None of them shoot 500 yards or hold more than 6 bullets. But I came here from Dripping Springs. I drove. Sorry. I drove an hour to see you because I have 2 boys in high school. They're huge, athletic, muscular kids that play sports. They're very tough, but they can't stop a bullet. So I just came here father to father to say thank you very much. And I'm not scared of money things, but I am scared of my kids dying and a school shooting. I feel comfortable with them out in the world, except for when they go to school. And it makes 0 sense to me that we're afraid to say these weapons of war are not needed in society. Well, my mom is, I would say, is an old school Reagan, moderate Republican. She asked me when I first got here, are you surprised with the number of people that showed up? And I said, I'm surprised that you showed up. My mom is right here. She's been a Republican most of her time, and she's going to vote for you. I'm a responsible gun owner, father of 2, and I am definitely voting for Beto.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
It was clear. Everyone knows the rules. Liza Fletcher violated those rules. You can't go outside at certain hours in certain places in America, obviously. And if you violate the rules, you run the risk of being raped and murdered. That's how things work in this country. So adapt, accept it, move on. To some extent, if we're being honest, all of us feel that way. Whether we articulate it or not, we know what the rules are. We know what we can and cannot do in modern America. Nothing is ever spelled out. Nothing can be spelled out at risk of punishment. But everyone knows what the parameters are. Cities like Memphis or Baltimore or Detroit or Montgomery or Gary, Indiana or Wilmington, Delaware or a dozen other formerly prosperous, orderly little cities across the country were destroyed forever by the rioting that accompanied our last progressive social revolution more than 50 years ago.
Governor Gavin Newsom and psychos like Eric Swallowwell want us to cut back on electricity and stop using major appliances for the next couple days. You know what that means.
And this is what is expensive, because in these peak demands, the expensive gas comes into the market. So what we have to do is flatten the curve and avoid the peak demands. We will propose a mandatory target for reducing electricity use at peak hours, and we will work very closely with the member states to achieve this.
Now, 55 people were shot over the holiday weekend. 11 people were killed. There were also some pretty headline-grabbing robberies that took place over the weekend that were caught on camera.
That's right, 55 were shot and 11 killed in Chicago over this Labor Day weekend. And surprisingly, that number is down from last year. And yet, not one of the shooters was found to be an extremist MAGA Republican. Back to you, Claire.
That's right. Despite what the superintendent says, still, we had a lot of shootings over the weekend. 55 people were shot, 11 people were killed. And although those numbers may seem high, this morning, Superintendent David Brown did say those numbers actually is an improvement over this time last year.
Over the weekend, shootings were down 15% compared to last Labor Day weekend. Shooting victims were down 23%.
Even with 55 people shot and 11 killed, Superintendent Brown says there are major declines in gun violence.
We continue to see significant declines in gun violence in the city, with over 600 fewer victims of gun violence so far this year.
The investigation continued into one of the most recent deadly shootings that happened Sunday night near 86th and Kingston. 20-year-old David DeVoe Jr. and 18-year-old Jason Mundo were gunned down while sitting in front of a home. 2 others were also shot. Police say at least 2 shooters armed with a rifle and 2 handguns walked up and opened fire.
They just execute them for no reason. We don't even know what the reason is. If there is a reason to shoot somebody and then to walk away.
Superintendent Brown acknowledged the efforts for more policing on the CTA and the need for more policing in cases of robberies and carjackings.
We're struggling obviously with way too many carjackings. We had an arrest of a juvenile offender on September 2nd and charged with 1 felony count of aggravated vehicular hijacking with a firearm. We need more consequences for violent offenders, regardless of your age.
Republicans are to destroying American democracy.
So everybody who wants to know why there was child pornography on your son's computer is a fucking extremist, huh? Everybody who wants to know why Hillary deleted 30,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress is a fucking extremist, right? The biggest threat to democracy are the people who are wondering why you're selling the nation's oil reserves to companies in China that you and your son have business dealings with. The people who want to stop the decay of Western society due to the flow of fentanyl and child trafficking across an open border are domestic terrorists, right? The mothers and fathers who want sex religions to stop being taught to their children in public schools are just wackos. The people who do not believe for 1 second that a mother bitching at a school board for this kind of shit should be labeled as a domestic terrorist are domestic terrorists. The people who saw your attempt to create a disinformation governance board as something straight out of George Orwell's 1984 are the biggest threat to our republic. You know what? Anybody who believes that shit is fucking pathetic, and that includes you especially, Mr. President. You realize that horrifying speech that you gave energized independents to vote for Trump because it completely outlined the tyrannical intentions of your office and the deep state. The fact that you placed U.S. Marine Corps personnel in the background of that speech shows us that you are ready to weaponize the military against 75% of the American public who want you the fuck out of office. Release the Epstein flight logs, you sick fuck.
Facebook and Instagram for over 2 years now have had this third-party fact-checking system, which quite frankly, let's just call it what it is. It's completely a joke. But something happened this past week that demonstrates just how much of a joke it really is. And I know we know from so many other posts that this is the case, but I want to show you a specific example. This is an image that I shared on Twitter. It reads in a very simple, kind of tongue-in-cheek way, in fact, quote, them. There is no great reset, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Me? We simply show the cover of Klaus Schwab's book, which you can buy right now on Amazon, titled The Great Reset. Of course, it's funny, you got a little Will Smith image here. Bottom line is, what's the problem with this? Well, after getting tens of thousands of retweets on Twitter, thousands of likes on Facebook and Instagram, the fact checkers at Meta hit the post with a false information label. Really? So we decided to see why. What about this post that merely shows you the cover of Klaus Schwab's book, The Great Reset, is false? Well, turns out the fact checker is an entity called Lead Stories, which claims that, quote, independent fact checkers say that this information has no basis in fact. Wow, pretty interesting. The actual claim here of the fact check is that the cover of a book is not based in fact.
Among the many things we're all now required to believe, there are so many it's hard to keep track, but one of the main ones is the Ukrainian government is running a vibrant democracy that's a model for our country. Nothing the Ukrainian government does is bad, and there are absolutely no Nazis working for the Ukrainian government. Well, the problem is that dumb people kind of believe this, and then that leads to embarrassing moments, as Jon Stewart found out the hard way recently. Fox's Trace Gallagher has that story for us.
Hey, Tucker, turns out the journey from fascism to heroism now only takes a few months. Before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, several media outlets, including the U.S. government's own Voice of America, were happy to lash out at Ukraine's Azov battalion for embracing Nazism. Now the U.S. appears to be embracing the Azov battalion, at the happiest place on earth, no less. Here's the deal. During the Defense Department's annual War Games at Disney World in Orlando, liberal comedian Jon Stewart reportedly awarded Ihor Halushka, a member of the Ukraine's Azov force, the, quote, Heart of the Team Award for his inspiration, his shining example, and, of course, his humor. We're told Halushka happily accepted his award with a sleeve over his left arm, a left arm that has previously been photographed with a Nazi tattoo. We should note, Italian member picked up his award with many people, including Jon Stewart, chanting, Ihor.
Jon Stewart giving awards to Nazis at Disney World. The world has just really gone crazy.
Yo, it's actually working.
Yeah, it's hooked. It's a phone.
Can I do your number?
Yeah, it will ring. It will call me.
Really? All right, hold on.
Yeah, it's a real phone.
What do I do now?
Put it up to your ear. See?
Answer.
I'm like, I'm so scared.
Wait, what do I do?
Answer.
Bro, it's answering.
Hello?
That's cool.
Hello? Answer. Hello? Oh my gosh! The phone actually works. Oh my gosh!
Hang up, man. Just push it down. Wait, like, get off of it and just put it down. What? It ended!
We have the tools to use. We know what we can use. We have masks, and they should be N95 masks. We should be using HEPA filters. We should be improving ventilation. We should be providing adequate paid sick days and encouraging people to stay home when they're sick rather than returning to workplaces. We have all of those tools. They are achievable. They are low cost. They are effective. It is inappropriate to say that masks are some form of hardship. They are not. They are not cruelty, Matt. They are not in any way restricting people's ability to make friends, to play, to work, to do any of the things. In fact, there are places in the world where even, for example, in Italy, opera singers are on stage wearing masks. There is nothing that you are saying that is based in science or medicine. What you are saying is based in right-wing, anti-mask, anti-vax ideology.
They're getting the weapons they need to defend themselves, and they're now on offense. And I think we have to keep supporting them, helping them. They were attacked by an unprovoked act of war, and they've held out, and they've done better than anybody could have predicted. And Zelensky has been a true wartime leader. I'm so impressed with him.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, the United States should stand with them along with all of our other friends around the world.
With all the crazy stated plans of the Great Reset, the currency reset, and even the food reset, it's not a matter of if the store shelves are going to clear and there's a lack of food. The question is when. You need to get long-term storable food. It doesn't matter if it's from me or you just go to the store and you buy food. Just grab dry, storable food while you can. If you want to get it from me, you're going to support the channel and you're going to help yourself out because my link has a discount code embedded within it. You can check that out in the description below.